Hello, everyone, and welcome to Bxb'S Bits and Bobs, episode 57. No rest for the wicked. It's kind of our Halloween show. It's probably the show we're going to be doing closest to Halloween. And let's be honest, things are at their bleakest at the moment for myself. It's been a very shitty week for me. How are you guys doing? Chris, the humble gamer, joining us, the Black Country editor.
Black Country editor.
That's what it was. Yeah. How are you doing today, mate?
Yeah, Halloween's a bit of a shitter in general. Whenever you work in any industry that involves anything even mildly scary, and working in a dungeon and scare attractions, this is just hell. Yeah, Charlie's a big fan of Halloween. So.
I've never personally got into it. Like, it's never been my thing, dressing up and doing all of that. Well, I'll be asking you guys about any Halloween rituals. But Richard, how are you doing?
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm on leave now from work, so I'm quite.
Oh, I hate you so much.
You were on leave all last week as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm taking even more leave.
You're on leave
so hard. They've made me stay off. So.
Oh wow, well that's good that they've acknowledged how much you killed yourself, like in the last few months.
So that answers the FAQ. Does Richard work in the game industry? Which is no.
We'll be talking about that as well.
Topical comedy.
So do you guys have any like Halloween rituals? Do you watch any scary movies in particular? Do you like try and play any scary games, or like do you get involved with trick or treaters? You know, do you get the candy in for the kids and all that stuff? Do you do any of that?
No.
No.
We kind of do, but it's weird in our road. It seems to alternate every year. We either get loads of kids or none. So I don't know if this year is going to be the year I get all of the sweets or not.
I usually try and watch a couple of scary movies or something, or I don't know, something like, from my zombie something or other, a classic Romero, something like that. I know they're doing screenings Thursday next week in the cinema with a 4K restoration of Night of the Living Dead, and I was considering going to see one of those just because I've never seen it in the cinema, and it's an amazing film, so I might do that. The guys at my work were trying to get me to go see the new Halloween, but I'm really not that bothered. So yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
What about her?
In general, I mean.
She's in the new one. Yes, she is in the new one. Yeah, she's half decent, I suppose. I don't have a huge fondness for her past works, but she's okay. She's all right. Don't hate her.
I imagine. Are we going to see the new Halloween, Charlie?
Yes.
Yes, we are. It's live on the internet, so I have no choice but to go through it now. So yes.
I feel like on the next podcast we'll get Charlie in on this as well, because you involve her a lot. So.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. If we can get an extra headset,
it'd be nice to have a female. Yes, it'd be good.
Yeah,
it'd be good.
Yeah, it would.
It took me God knows how long to download the flipping thing to try and come and speak to you.
It's a web browser. You have to download anything.
No, she's grabbed the Google Hangouts app on the on their mobile device.
That sounds complicated. I don't know.
It is a little bit complicated. She sent you a textual message via it. I don't know if you got it.
No.
And I had to re-sign in as Humble tonight because it naturally wants to sign me in as Charlie.
Well, I was clearly superior.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow, this is about as inside baseball as you could get. Nobody's going to know what the fuck we're talking about.
Even I feel left out.
You can see Charlie. You can see Charlie here.
But if you're listening to the audio version, what does that mean?
Yeah, Charlie's there. For those of you listening to the audio only, Charlie is behind me.
This is the podcast you get, guys, when everybody's had a long week except Richard, who's sat on his ass. And on top of a long week, my boiler currently tried to kill me. So we had gases pouring into my loft, and I had the man round yesterday. I don't have any hot water or heating right now, which is exactly what you want in the middle of winter. So that's quite stressful and tiring. I can't wait for my cold sponge bath tomorrow morning. It's going to be really thrilling.
That's the highlight of my week.
Viewers, please
I travel all this way down to Cambridge.
Ken's wife is not in the background. Is she still alive?
She is still alive. But the bit was when the guy was checking the boiler and he looked up into the loft and he pulled this face of like, oh. And I was like, oh, not good then. He runs off and I hear him on the phone to his boss. It's full of smoke, man. What do I do? like that, and I'm like, oh god, it's great. Just this is good, cool.
That's that Bill Bailey gag. He talks about that a train he was on had to stop because they had a fire in the canteen car, and over the tannoy, obviously someone left it on, and apparently he said that we got this great insight into how British railways work. You just heard, Barry, it's burning. What are we gonna do? Just over the tannoy in the train.
Similar experience, and he's like, yeah. So this has been backing up. We don't know how long into your loft, which is right above where you sleep. So there's quite a good chance that you've been poisoned for a while now as well. So no heating, no water, hot water, and I might be dead.
And yes, and a chance of poisoning.
Yeah, cool. It's been a fun week for everyone. So to try and deal with this, I've been watching mostly really ridiculous television. So I watched the first episode of NXT UK. Richard, did you partake and see the venue?
I haven't got the WWE network at the moment, but I did go and see NXT UK live this week.
You went and saw it in Plymouth, didn't you, sir?
I did. And very good it was too. So I am tempted to resubscribe at the end of the month. I think I'll be doing that because NXT UK is now on every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock, yes, our time, yeah, and obviously on demand for everybody else. It looks to me like there's going to be roughly 3 episodes per night, based on how they've broken up the card. So I won't be on it until episode 4, and based on where that hard camera is, you will see me throughout the show because of where I was sat. I will be very visible, getting very excited.
What are you wearing? So
a bright red Johnny Gargano shirt, so you can't miss me. I stand out like a raspberry amongst other raspberries. I think it's a nice. That's probably a nice thing to call a wrestling fan. They've been called a lot worse.
I might be on it too. Then maybe I'll look out for myself.
Yeah, but yours will be a while away.
It will be a while away.
That's going to take some time for them to catch up to that.
Anyone that wants to look out for me, I'll be wearing this T-shirt.
Oh, he's wearing.
I caught this from a wrestler from Mustache Mountain.
Yeah,
nice.
Man. Trent or
it's from Trent 7.
Trent 7, cool, man. That's very cool. Was it off of his own body?
Yeah, it had massive stains in the pits when I caught it. It has been washed out.
No way. That's crazy. I thought maybe they were just throwing out some free ones, but this was the one he was wearing.
He took it off and threw it at me, yeah.
If do you know what? My wife would actually kill you for that. She's got a real thing for that guy. So I kid you not, like she's well into Trent 7. That's crazy though, man. That's so cool. Wow, that's awesome. But you're wearing it. Are you in the right size as Trent? He's a big dude. Okay, fair enough, and it fits you perfectly. Good to know.
It does.
He shrunk that in the dryer.
So in addition to some NXT, I've been watching some more Big Mouth, which I highly recommend now that we're on season 2 on Netflix. If you guys haven't seen the incredibly adult comedy show, it's absolutely fantastic. Adult animation. It's just hilarious. Great voice acting, and it's all about like these young children as they develop and come to terms with their sexuality, and it is fucking hilarious. Big Mouth, honestly, couldn't recommend it enough. Kind of surprised you've never watched it, Rich.
No, I haven't watched it. I'll have to look out for that one.
You are somewhat of an Netflix connoisseur, so you basically only watch. Actually, to be honest, whenever I log into Xbox Live, you're always on Netflix.
Yeah,
never doing anything else.
If I'm watching anything, it's Netflix. I don't watch TV anymore. It's pretty much Netflix or nothing.
As a Netflix connoisseur, it's all right, Charlie. Can I ask, have you seen Disenchanted?
Disenchanted? No.
It's the new Matt Groening one that's on.
Oh, I know. No, I haven't seen that.
I watched the first episode and thought it was absolute trash.
Yeah, I couldn't even finish the first episode. I think I watched about 15 minutes of it, and I just thought, no, I like the idea, but no.
I'm sorry, I'm watching your girlfriend choosing this moment to do shredding.
Yeah,
Charlie's moment, she's doing shredding.
It's like, all right.
Really?
She's just shredding the tax form.
I love the timing. It's like a comedy sketch. It's all right, love, I'm just doing the shredding.
We've just bought a new 2-tier guinea pig cage, and we line it with our tax returns.
I thought you were going to say you line it with shredded guinea pigs for a second.
No, we don't line it with shredded guinea pigs. No, those go in the duck pancakes.
Nice.
So I'll tell you what. While you guys are going through what you're watching, I shall mute my microphone.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I love it. It just sums up our show perfectly.
Don't want me around.
Perfectly. Right, Richard, I want to know, is The Apostle worth what I'm sure will be a fucking terrifying and uncomfortable watch? Because it looked from that trailer like super disturbing.
It's really unpleasant in places, but I was quite disappointed in a way. It's by Gareth Edwards, the guy.
Were you
who did
expecting kung fu fighting?
Not so much, but I was expecting it to be down to earth, gritty, focused on the violence, and not much more than that. Something I could get into for the action and
Yeah,
the
I guess you didn't know about his horror background.
No,
I suppose. Right? Okay, fair enough. Because it's much more like what he did before The Raid.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's got some really grim horror scenes that actually made me look away. That's rare for me. But there's quite a lot of supernatural edge to it, which I didn't feel sat that well inside the story, because it starts off feeling like more of a modern Wicker Man sort of setup, and then it becomes more of a evil dormant god in this land that gets woken, and all this weird stuff starts happening, which I didn't quite buy. But it's got some good people in it. Michael Sheen's in it.
Oh,
he is indeed. Yeah. It's what's his name?
It's worth watching.
God, the name of that actor from The Guest. Dan Stevens. Absolutely love that guy. I think he's very, very good as well. Guest, if you've never seen The Guest, highly recommend The Guest. If you're in the mood for more Dan Stevens. But I love it. He said, Richard's no, I don't really do stuff for Halloween. I don't really watch anything special. And he's got 2 of the brand new horror things on his list. and is Haunting on Hill or of Hill House as good as I've heard it is?
Yes. Sarah and I watched this unprompted. So I think before most people had latched onto it. Obviously, we're not like connoisseurs of horror or scouring for rare nuggets of horror TV because it's on Netflix. It's big, but we watched it quite early on. Watched it really quickly, so over a couple of nights, pretty much. And there's 10 episodes in there, so we kind of raced through it.
I like the way you said you're not connoisseurs and stuff. Before everybody else latched onto it, it's only been out like less than a week. Like you're already latching onto it,
amongst Sarah's,
what everybody else was writing about it. I love it.
Amongst the people we know, everyone is talking about it now, and it's got to the point where people are saying, "Oh, it's not as scary as I thought it was." So it's almost kind of ruined because
it's gone over
out there.
It's gone over the edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of come back.
Yeah, when we watched it, we hadn't heard anything about it. We just watched it on its own terms, and there's elements of lots of classic horror in there, really. So it's based around a haunted house, but it's got bits of it in there, so it bounces back and forth between generations. There's quite a lot of timeline jiggery pokery in there that works really well. So it's about a family that lives in a house. The house is haunted, obviously. It's about how they grow up in it. They come back to it when they're older, and things that happen in there. And I don't want to reveal too much, but it sort of focuses on each character and their own experiences of the house and how it influences their life growing up.
That's cool. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, and how they turn out as an adult, and then how that reflects on their relationships later in life. It all sort of comes back together in the house. And it's really well written. It's more than just a jump scare horror. It has quite touching moments as well. I even cried a little bit in the last episode.
Oh,
it's it's good. There's loads in there for you to enjoy. It's not just
I like a good ghost story. Yeah. I enjoy ghosty stuff much more than like scary clowns and stuff like that. So I might well give that a go. Chris, before Charlie starts putting up shelves or doing I don't know, getting the buzzsaw out or whatever, tell us about what is to me the most terrifyingly disappointing conclusion to the Cornetto trilogy. What made you go back to watch The World's End?
I hadn't seen it.
Oh, Okay, well,
I'd only seen the first two of the Cornetto trilogy, and we got World's End quite recently, and I thought it was all right.
yeah, no, it is. It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's not.
I don't think it's
compared to the
best
previous
one.
two.
I think if I had to pick of the other two, I think Hot Fuzz is the best one of the three.
Yep.
Yeah.
Legit.
I think again, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty safe giving spoilers, but I'm not. But just in case,
you're good. You're good.
just in case, for anyone watching, spoilers or listening, spoilers. I think the final line of Bill Nye is the aliens is just it is one of my favorite villain payoffs ever.
I can't remember. I can't remember it.
You know what? We will leave you all to your own devices. What, really? You're just gonna go? Yeah. Fuck it. I just think it's a brilliant line. Yeah. I mean, I'm glad it looked like it was just going to be a pub crawl movie, which I was glad it didn't turn out to be. But I just
got the impression like Edgar Wright must have been in a bit of a downer place when he put that one together. It's like it's really myopic and just like miserable, and it's got such a negative take on humanity.
Yes,
and it's just like, wow, okay. After Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, which are really upbeat and uplifting and fun, and then he did The World's End. It's just like, oh, did you get divorced, Edgar?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened in your life, but something went down, didn't it? You know?
I think if it had been released on its own without the other two preceding it, I think it would have been a good film. But I think following Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, I think it's...
I was putting together the quiz last night, and one of the questions that I didn't use
Yes.
was, what flavor cornetto does The World's End represent? Do you know?
It was mint, was it?
It was!
Yes.
There you go.
Because you only see a bit of the wrapper, not the whole thing.
Oh, well, I didn't use that question, so no points for you, Chris. Sorry.
But we'll be saying that again in about an hour and a half's time.
I think we might. It's even harder this week.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
So before we get on to the news, which we really need to get to, because there's quite a bit, we'll fly through it quite quickly. Richard decided to post the most 14-year-old brag ever on Facebook. Look at my gamer score. I did 250,000. I'm so proud. Everybody was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
My favorite bit about this whole thing is that I didn't know this because I sort of follow sort of friends with you guys on Facebook. I don't have an Xbox, so I don't really follow Xbox Live or anything like that. But I didn't know this. But my favorite part of it was that Richard searched for the game that would give him exactly the right amount of gamer points to hit exactly 250.
I noticed it immediately, and I was just no, there is dedication. What was the achievement, Richard?
That I got the 250k on. It was the first episode, first achievement on episode 4 of Tales from the Borderlands.
And so how much was it for?
20 gamer score. But working up to that took some effort because I was on an uneven number. So I had to go and find a game.
You have thought about this. I bet there are notebooks and diaries that are specifically about this event.
Fucking loser.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that game Origami you sent me for review? It was 6 months ago, wasn't it? I've deliberately not finished that because I know it's got uneven score achievements. So I can go.
What is wrong with you? You're not 14.
So hold on. He has put his own gamer score ahead of a Bxb game review.
That's ridiculous. that is
6 months. 6 months.
That is crazy, man. Okay. Let's move on.
Installed all this time.
That shame will always be with you now, Richard. But so let's move on.
There's more shame to come. It's 500,000.
500,000. Okay. Yeah, that'll take a while. Good luck on your quest.
I give it a week. He's got a week off from work. He's going to blitz that thing.
Yeah. It wouldn't even be that surprising. Let's move on to the news.
Yes.
Right. So Microsoft has announced a game streaming service called Project xCloud. And this is going to kind of be a big deal, I think, in the next generation of consoles. I can see them kind of launching it aside a new Xbox. It might appear before that. However, how do you guys feel about this with PS Now already existing, but actually going the other direction and becoming more like Game Pass? the fact that Microsoft is announcing a streaming service, looking to the future of the technology, perhaps a little bit more to then the current position of the technology. Obviously, they've got an incredible server infrastructure already in place at Microsoft, you know, with their distributed computing power all over the globe. So they're very well set up for it, more than any other company. Does it excite you? Is it something you'd be interested in?
It does me, definitely. Last time we got a new wave of consoles, when the Xbox One came out, I got Surface Pro at roughly the same time. And it was
you were
always
like,
a bit...
Microsoft hasn't had enough of my money. I need to give them more.
Well, you know what I'm like with Microsoft. Any consumer product they bring out, I'll buy it, but they don't bring out very much these days.
Lucky for you.
Yes.
Well, lucky for your wife.
When that came out, when the Xbox One came out, I got a Surface Pro pretty much alongside it. And in theory, that was great. I could still play Xbox Anywhere games on it. There's games with Xbox achievements that you can play on a Surface Pro, but you can't play the big stuff. It's just not good enough. So next time around, when we get the new Xbox, which is in development, and it launches alongside this Project xCloud, then I can have a console and I can still play at the same sort of quality on the move, as long as the streaming quality is good enough. So yeah, I am excited for this. It just means that I can play what I want to play all the time.
For me, I think what would be cool is, it seems to be like they're going to enable streaming for your library. So, you know, I'm at about 800 Xbox games. The idea of being able to play them on my smartphone, even it's not going to give me the full experience, and that I'm very much aware of and stuff. But, you know, there are certain games where I could pick up my phone and just play a little bit, 20 minutes on the bus or when I'm at work or something. And I just giving players another way to experience their collection of games, I think is, well, you can't complain, can you? It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing. And I think if anybody's going to be able to pull it off, it will be Microsoft. This is kind of what they're good at. It's what they're known for. You know, them and Amazon are the two big boys. What's their cloud stuff called? Is they Azure?
Yeah.
So that's huge. It's as big as it's about as big as Amazon's cloud service, and they're the two big boys in that field at the moment. So I think if anybody's going to do it, that's cool. Yeah, Chris.
I'll tell you what. I think this spells the end of, and I don't mean this is a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. This spells the end of any split-screen gaming, because you can, if people have their phone, because they obviously showed you footage on phones. It means that you can all play, pick an Xbox game. So Forza 4, and playing that bit.
Yeah,
you can all sit around, and instead of having to share the screen, you can all sit, and one of you can be on the screen, and the rest of you can be on the phone.
If your home network's good enough, yeah.
If the network's good, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not something I would necessarily use, but I think it's a good idea.
Well, for you, it might mean, you know, you don't have to invest in an Xbox. You might be able to play all these Xbox games just by subscribing to, say, Game Pass. And I know Game Pass gives you, you know, the Play Anywhere titles on PC like Forza, but you know, that would give you access to the whole library, which you could just play on your PC.
Yeah,
which would be fucking amazing. Like, that's so cool. You know, and I think that's the interesting thing that's happened this generation with Xbox kind of being in second place. They have diversified how they want their games to be consumed. And they're no longer obsessed with, you buy a console, you play your games on your console, like PlayStation has been. They're much more like, we don't care where you buy these games. We don't care if it's PC or Xbox. We just want you to play them.
Yeah,
you know, and that's all that matters. And I think that's really consumer friendly and really cool.
Yeah,
awesome.
I think it's good. I think it's good.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the other guys, the Sony boys in the club. There's a few new stories about Sony here. Most of them not that positive. But this one is positive. It's a feature people have been asking for ages. Though I really am not sure why, but you're going to finally be able to change your name on PSN very, very shortly. I believe it's already in beta test, and it will be rolled out for everybody to do in the coming weeks. Cool. Wow. Yeah,
in theory. But reading the detail, it isn't quite that positive, because
there's a lot of caveats.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's quite hilarious how many caveats,
Like, not all the games are covered by it.
So it's going to be a $5 cost if you're on PS Plus, or $10 if you're not. Your first name change will be for free. So when you created Boob Lover Fucks Your Mum 394265 when you were 13, you'll be able to now make that Brian Smith.
That's a
without,
that's a very specific example, Ben. If I was to find you on PSN,
you would find it under the same name as I'm on Xbox, as I am on Steam, as I am on Nintendo, and that is Boob Lover Fucks Your Mum 69. It's a classic, and I'm never giving it up. So yeah, I mean, like, that's, I guess, what it's for. People that, like, there was a rage for a while there, wasn't there, when you come up with a cool thing like, I'm gonna be the Magnificent. Sadly, that's already taken, so I'm gonna be the Magnificent 43655X21. Yeah, that'll be cool, I'll do that. And a lot of people made names of that nature. I guess people want to get rid of the numbers and have something a bit more unique and clever. And
well, good luck finding one in 2018.
Yeah, I was going to say, most of them have been taken.
I mean, it's just one of these things. It's a quality of life thing that should have been in there since the very beginning. Like, clearly the way that back end was built out was poorly by PlayStation in the beginning. You know, they must have, they did something weird there that meant that wasn't possible. So
it won't free up the old name either, because you keep that just in case it doesn't work. Brilliant. So they've said you can change it for free once. You can also change it back for free when it stops working on all of your games. So you permanently have two PSN names in effect, don't you? So you've got the one that doesn't work on games that have been updated for the change, and that's kept in reserve for you if you ever need to go back to it. So.
But the interesting little caveat to that thing for me is that you're only able to revert once during the preview program. So if your name gets stuck there, then I mean, it would have to get stuck twice for it to be a problem. Which, you know, Sony's never had problems on internet-based things on release day.
Well, we can talk about some other problems that they may have had recently. We'll jump straight to that.
We should.
So messages were getting sent out that were bricking people's consoles.
Yes.
So there was some kind of message string that some arsehole out there, kind of think of this as one of those horrible spam emails you got 15 years ago that would put a virus on your computer. And these were being sent out in messages on PlayStation, which would create some kind of boot loop that forced the console into a sort of a state of constant crashing reboot, just from the text string in a message. Guys, Sony, like, learn how to do this.
2 lines of code, man. To rule the world. 2 lines of code.
What the fuck, guys? Like, what the fuck? How can you have this vulnerability in your system to allow that to happen? Now, they fixed it, and they also, like, provided a way around it, which was actually quite easy, about launching the console in safe mode and then restoring it in a certain way, which would clear the issue. However, this shouldn't be happening. This is just insane. Like, what did you guys think about this?
I've changed my settings after this story, so I can't receive messages from people that aren't my friends.
I think I've always had that on, but yeah.
I thought I did, but I haven't checked. Apparently I didn't. So.
Do you have any of the messages in your inbox then?
Nope.
No, you didn't.
No, I was safe.
Yes, but I believe it's all fixed now.
It's worth changing just in case, isn't it?
No, absolutely. Why take that risk? It's ridiculous. You know, I want to finish Spider-Man. But yeah, I mean, that's nuts. That's nuts. That is nuts. Moving on then. But talking about old things that are new again, and new things that are old again but are new again. Xbox
is smooth.
You like that? Yeah. Xbox has avatars again.
Whoop, whoop.
So like, after getting rid of them for the most part on Xbox One and deciding that they weren't really the look that they wanted, they spent a really long time making these new avatars. I've had mine on my system for fucking ages because I had it in the alpha preview, and I kind of forgot that not everybody had it. But the actual update came out in the last week, and I saw Richard, you've experimented, you've got a fancy new avatar. What do you think of them? There's been a lot of on the Xbox Reddit and stuff, which I frequent, there's been a lot of really negative comments about these. They're too feminine. They're limited in their options. They look weird. You know, you like them. I didn't have an issue with them. I thought they were quite fun. Yeah.
The only downer I've got with it is that I spent a bit of money on my old one, getting clothes and stuff, and none of that carries over now. There's virtually nothing in the Avatar store for you to buy for your avatars. There's a bit in there. There's Gears of War costumes and a few bits and bobs, but nothing that you'd really want to spend any money on. And what is there is really expensive. So it's not like when avatars first came out and you could get something for 70 pence. It's all £2 or £3, £4, £5. it's insane the amount
I
of
tell
money
you
they're
what.
charging for stuff.
What will make me interested is if they bring back the rewards tied to achievements that games had on the 360. That was really
great.
fun. That was really cool. When you'd like, I remember having the ODST drop pod from playing Halo Reach or something like that. I remember having the kids outfit from Bastion for beating that game and stuff like that. Really, really cool rewards tied into it. At the moment, they seem so pointless, these avatars, because they're not really surfaced anywhere in the Xbox UI currently. They're hidden away as gamer picks if you choose to use a picture of one, or hidden away in the comparing of achievements and things like that. But they're barely there. So it's like, why did they get? And I believe it was Rare as well working on these. Why did they get so much time and money invested into these for them barely to be used?
Did Rare do the new ones?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, I know they did the original lot. I didn't realize they'd.
I might be wrong. I know it's an internal, one of the larger internal studios, and
I thought it was
obviously
somebody
predating the acquisitions as well. So that doesn't leave many options, really, does it? Maybe it would be Rare or Lionhead, I guess, before it went bye-bye. But yeah, so they're okay. They're cool. Mine's got a beard that looks a bit weird, and he's wearing a trucker cap, which I wear quite a lot of those. So he kind of looks like me. But I've had mine on there for so long now that I barely remember what it even looks like. You just don't see it. Though saying that, your gamer picture comes up constantly playing Forza Horizon 4, and it always makes me smile when you see your stupid avatar or your gaming picture on that. It was really
I like them. You're right, though. It'd be nice to see them used somewhere else. So back in the day when they first came out on 360, they were all over the place. Most notably in 100 to 1. That was great, playing that with your avatar. I wish they'd bring that back.
Oh, do you though? I mean, really? Move on.
Oh, that's good. That was. People
always say that. Oh, I want to do. It's so good. That lasted like 5 minutes and was basically a tech test. It's like, it wasn't really even a game. Moving on to other expensive things that may never appear and have possibly been a complete waste of resources. So I'm talking about Star Citizen. So the reason I brought up Star Citizen is there is this new fanciful spangly trailer for Squadron 42 filled with stars of stage and screen throughout. I'm talking like Gillian Anderson, I'm Gary Oldman, I'm talking Mark Hamill, I'm talking what's his name?
Davies. Henry Cavill, Mark Strong.
Mark Strong is who I was thinking of. Are you just reading the IMDb page, Chris? Are you
no. I'm watching the trailer again.
Mark Strong stood out to me because he was doing an American accent.
Yes.
And I was just like, why do you hire Mark Strong if you don't want him to sound like Mark Strong for voice work? What is the fucking point of that? It was very peculiar, that. But yeah, Gary Oldman seems to be some kind of general. Gillian Anderson's a woman who says something. Doesn't do much in that trailer, but I feel like they very much wanted to show that they had her in there. We hired her. You need to know she's there. There's that sort of brutish English actor who always plays gangsters. No idea who his name is, but you recognize him as soon as you see him in the trailer. So yeah, like this is where all your crowdfunding went. This is where your $190 million of funding have gone. They've gone and hired half of Hollywood to be in their video game. So that's.
I'm not sure you could ask for unless a good game and a good cast. Sounds like a fair deal.
I know you're as an actor, Chris. I can understand your perspective of cast, but surely the game should come first.
Yes, yeah. I would argue that. I would agree with you on the fact that the game should come first. The graphics look amazing, though. I will say that. But on the flip side of things, a mediocre a good script can be made poor by a bad performance, and a mediocre script can be made amazing by a good performance. So sometimes investing in the talent behind the words is actually just as sensible. But we'll see how it pans out, if and when.
I just hope they're paying their developers as handsomely as they're paying their voice actors.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're not even getting a roadmap about its release until December, so I'm not too.
I love it. How so? Can you were looking into some of this information about this? When did it actually get out of its first initial run of crowdfunding? I feel like we've been talking about this game for the best part of 10 years now.
Yeah, it started in 2012, the crowdfunding thing. So it's incredible. We're going on for 6 years now.
That's insane. It's there's a term for it, but it's completely eluded me. No, it's come back. Feature creep. I believe this would be the most just amazing example of feature creep you have ever seen in a video game. From its pretty humble pitch, basically a modern wing commander, to what has become this. We don't really even know what this game is like. So it has a strong narrative single player, which is Squadron 42, but it also has an immersive open world, open universe multiplayer aspect, supposedly, you know, which is going to be a bit more like Wing Commander, but like multiplayer, a bit like sort of No Man's Sky-esque kind of like Galaxy to Explore, Elite Dangerous kind of vibe. But we've not really seen that. There's a dogfighting module that's been released, I believe, which you can and then there's like a hangar module. So people can go and buy ships in this game now. Yeah. You can put literal real money down, thousands of dollars down to buy ships that you can then basically walk around the 3D model of. And that's it.
I mean, I'm the kind of sad person that, depending on the price, I'm okay with that. I like space enough to do that.
So when you talk to Charlie and you go, you know that deposit we've got down for the house? Well, I think a better investment would be this fucking badass ship in this video game. Cool.
I mean, if I was gonna give money to any crowdfunded space game at the moment, it would be Amongst the Stars, which I reviewed and thought, yeah, we should probably do that. But
that must have finished.
I would assume it has. Let me double check.
Now that you've brought it up, let's depress ourselves. Oh,
yeah.
That was 10 days left last time we talked about it, wasn't it?
Yeah, so that's finished.
Let's have a look.
Live radio, people.
Oh, I think they did it.
Whoa, really? Congratulations.
Yeah. They wanted $15,000.
Not a lot. Not a lot.
$108,392. So
really, when did that happen?
What did they do that?
Oh no! Hold on. No, that's a different Among the Stars. Because the game is called Between the Stars.
Oh,
the game is the Among the Stars I was talking about. That was a board game.
Killing it, Chris. Killing it.
However,
really doing well.
Between the Stars wanted €30,000, sorry, and they got 37,000.
So they did. Thank God. If they hadn't then done it, that would have been upsetting.
Yeah, available Q1 2019.
Fantastic news. Okay. We look forward to seeing their full release. Great news.
Check out the review on bxbgames.co.uk or on the BXB Games YouTube page.
Damn right. So moving, we alluded. I'm not sure how to segue this. Perhaps Chris has been overworked from 100 hours down in the dungeon. But imagine how it would feel.
That's a quiet week. That's a quiet week.
Quiet week. Imagine if you'd done 100 hours a week working on Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, would that be a better or a worse thing than being in the dungeon? I guess it very much depends on what type of dungeon you're in. I mean, there are good ones. There are bad ones.
Just first of all, it's not that kind of dungeon.
It depends if you're working with Mark, Chris.
If I was this is also true. If I was an actor and had worked 100 hours on Red Dead Redemption in voice acting, that'd be a great way to spend 100 hours.
In a week, you wouldn't have much voice left.
I mean, no, by the end of it, I would sound like Jeff Bridges in pretty much every single movie he's ever done, but...
So to bring back to the news story a bit more specifically, there was this kind of blowout profile that was done with, I think I want to say it was the Vulture website. I might be wrong. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was weird because Rockstar don't really do this. They don't really let the press in to do profiles and give that kind of access. So this was a bit dodgy to start with. It's like, they're mates with this guy. They know he's going to do a fluff piece, which was then only really compounded when you read the thing and it's like, oh no, this was 100% a fluff piece. This is I have gone in to make you guys sound awesome and pretty much nothing else, which is when the houses drop the, we do 100 hours a week because, we're just really hardcore, like kind of like bro-y kind of humble brag about how hard they're working. The journalist, and I say that in inverted commas, journalist, didn't proceed to sort of question that or push on that or go into any details about that atrocious number, like 100 hours in a week, man. What are you talking about? Like, that's insane. Is that what people are doing in your studio? That's crazy. Now, this is the Rockstar that famously has had so much controversy about terrible crunch periods. Literally crunch that would last years leading up to the original Red Dead. People lost lost homes, broke relationships, estranged from their families, just absolutely destroyed the lives the way that they did things in this studio. So to flippantly drop that, and then, of course, spend the preceding weeks afterwards just walking it back as quickly as they could. Oh no, it's just the senior writing team. It's just how we do things. We don't mind it. We don't notice it. We just love the game that much. We would never ask our employees to do anything like that. No.
They just want to, because it's a privilege to do that.
Exactly. It's obviously it's not something that's heavily implied by their bosses that if they don't do it, they'll be out of a job. That's not how we would do things. Don't be daft. So there's a lot of that going on. They did this thing recently where they let them go on social media and actually discuss this topic. Now, this is kind of unprecedented because Rockstar famously don't let any of their developers and there's people working in their studio talk on social media about the project they're working on. It's like, big no, you will lose your job. And they let them do this, obviously, so they could come out and go, no, it's lovely working here. I only work 5 hours a week and I get paid $3 million a year. It's fantastic. And lots of
I want that job.
Yeah, don't we all? But it's funny, they all work at Rockstar. I guess they're taken. So it's like, but there were some comments about, it's a lot better now. It used to be a lot worse. And I feel, to be honest, in defense of these guys in Rockstar, that it was blown out of proportion. It was a poor thing to say. It was a bad quote to give. It was bro being bro and like trying to sound awesome and tough and like really into his job. And it's just very much the culture of the houses that they're like that. But like crunch is a real thing and a real problem in the industry. When studios aren't being closed and people are losing their jobs, the poor bastards that work in game development are expected to work ridiculous hours for what is often peanuts. And this is unpaid overtime. 90% of the time we're talking about here as well. Like often with no remuneration. Sometimes they'll get it back in lieu. Often they don't. I have friends who work in video games, personal friends, who I speak to them about this, and they talk about this, and it's just like accepted that that's how it is. You just get on with it, because if you want to work in the industry, you just have to give everything. That's just what they expect from you, because there's 14 other people queuing up for that job. So you've got zero fucking protection, in that. So what do you guys think of crunch culture, Rockstar? Are you going to boycott Red Dead Redemption 2 now?
No. I've already bought it now.
Yeah.
It's too late.
I mean, we've known Red Dead Redemption was coming for a long... Red Dead 2 was coming for a while. I mean, it was... Given the success of the first game, was not quite a nailed-on thing already, but I think we'd all have been surprised if they left it as a single standalone game. The only thing I would say about this is you work on these games sometimes for 6-7 years. At what point over the 6-7 years do you get to a point where you need to do a crunch time of anywhere near 100 hours a week? I think one guy said he worked 79 hours a week on 1 week, and that wasn't recently. So it's kind of like I just think, how do you get over that period of time when you're all working 5 days a week, potentially 6 days sometimes? How does it ever get to the point where you need to crunch that much in right at the end of the project?
Yeah, I mean that's poor planning. That's your bosses not planning the pipeline correctly. That's your producers not getting things into a place where that's completely just wrong. I mean, a lot of studios are getting better at this. There are studios actively working to improve those pipelines, to improve that throughput. Naughty Dog was one that had a lot of controversy and has now improved a great deal with that sort of system. And now, crunch is something they are trying to actively eradicate. But I understand that, sometimes it is inevitable. If you have a hard deadline for a release, I mean, I was watching a documentary about fucking Dream Daddy, of all things, right? The visual novel about dating dads, hot dads, right? And they had a hard date. Now, you look at that game and you think, well, that's not visually intensive. That's not, but there's a lot of writing in there. And they ended up crunching really hard in the last sort of month before release to get everything done. Yeah. And, they put in, and there was a small team, and yet this still happened even at that level. And they just they acknowledge that it's wrong and it shouldn't. But at the same time, it happens. It doesn't just happen in the video game industry. It happens in software development, all kinds of things across the spectrum.
It happens in acting.
Yeah, I can imagine it would. But you know what? For me, is the problem is the lack of remuneration, the attitude that it's just expected, and sort of just a part of the culture of it. It comes back down to one thing, doesn't it? Like we were talking about a few weeks ago, they need a union and they need it fast.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent, while companies, and I mean this is like a tiny percentage. I'm not saying this is the be all or end all. This is a tiny percentage of it. Because they have these set dates, and a story that we're going to talk about a little bit later on addresses when set dates are altered, shall we say, rightly or wrongly. I think as not so much people like us three, because, you know, if someone said to me, Elder Scrolls is out, you know, next March or something, and then they said, oh, no, it's not coming out until November, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I can save up for it. But there is an awful lot of backlash sometimes when studios do move their games back. And so I think there's a tiny percentage where people actually, we as gaming fans and people who want the games, you've got to sort of go, we're either going to have studios push games back to make sure these crunches don't happen all the time, or we're going to have crunch because we're standing there saying we want our game on this day. So I think there's a little bit of give and take to be given there from our side of the fence. Like I said, that's not a be all and end all, because it's at the end of the day, if a company says, well, we're not going to make you work that, so we're going to have to push the date back, then that's their power. But
so release dates are dictated by not the developer, the publisher.
Yeah.
And the reason that dates can't be missed is because the publisher obviously puts a lot of money in the development process, but also will have a marketing plan in place.
Right.
So if you delay a game, especially if it's in the last, say, 3 months, it will throw off that entire year of marketing plan that has led up to that point. And that will cost the publisher a lot of money, because they'll either have to spin it all up again, or all that money they've put in will have zero effect because it's come to a culmination at a point 3 months prior to the game's release. So that's probably more of the problem than the consumer. But yes, consumers could definitely be more understanding.
Yeah.
Like what was it? Who said it famously? Is it Romero? I think it was. It'll be done when it's done, in reference to Doom sequels and things like that. You know, it will come out. Kojima's another one as well. He's like, I'm not giving you a date because it will be done when it's done. I don't know when it's going to come out. It will come out when it's finished, when it's ready to be perfect. Who was it? Miyamoto, who from Nintendo, who said, you know, about delayed games, something along the lines of, you can release a game, you know, early and it'll be broken, but it's broken forever in the consumer's eyes. You know, why not wait until it's finished, and then it has that initial impression that's really positive, and you can't ever get that back if it comes out fucked. So it's, but then, of
course, the flip side of that is things like Duke Nukem Forever, which you waited for 12 years and got a pile of shit. So
true.
Again, to nobody's surprise. So
absolutely, it's difficult. It's weird that the industry is still almost going through these like growth pains, and it's like, but how long has it been around now? Like, surely stuff should start to be getting better. But I feel like we've talked about this issue, Richard, me and you, especially podcasting on for Brit Xbox and this, and now Bxb for best part of 10 years plus. We've been doing this, and I feel like it comes up continuously. That's been a decade of us doing this, Richard.
It will do, but I guess you talk about the bad examples, don't you? There must be loads of games that
don't have it.
You know, without crazy crunch periods, they meet their dates, and we don't question it. It just happens, you know. So it's only the outliers like this that raise attention, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose you know, think about it, assuming that the majority of them get made by dates, otherwise this wouldn't be news.
Yeah.
So,
well, it has. I mean, Red Dead did get delayed a couple of times, didn't it? So you had to think they must have. How many times did they crunch? You know what I mean? It's like they must have crunched for that first date, couldn't make it, put it back.
Oh God, imagine
for the next date, couldn't make it, put it back. Crunch for the third date. Oh, we made it that time. So that's why the original Red Dead had a crunch period that lasted, I think it was 18 months. Because so you imagine 18 months of, let's not go 100 hours, but let's say 60-hour weeks. Right? If you think consistently you're meant to work about a 40-hour week, right? 45-hour week. So imagine just doing 60. That's an extra day and a bit every single day. You know, for a year and a half. Yeah, that's just awful. Like when you think about the actual what it actually means. Oh, it's horrible. Horrible,
No,
horrible, horrible, horrible.
I agree.
Let's move on though. Some sad news. Now, would you guys have known who Paul Allen was before you saw my news story?
No.
Paul
Allen to me is the guy who gets murdered in the chair in American Psycho.
Sure. Well, he was I don't know. I don't get it. He was co-founder of Microsoft with Bill Gates, and he was one of the richest men on the planet for quite a long time. And he's just passed away after losing a sort of suffering from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Once in his life, he went into remission, and it came back very suddenly and took him out in the last month. But he was kind of, I get the impression he was the business guy behind it. Behind Bill Gates and everything to do with Windows and Microsoft. And it's just worth mentioning that because of people like him, we have Xbox, and we have, Windows 10 and everything we have today. And, a big important thing he got into in his later life, owning sports teams a lot more. So he was one of those very rich people that gets to do that. But was also very generous with his money. Philanthropist, lots of charity donations and stuff like that, giving away, I think, $2 billion in total or something over the years, though he was worth something like 200 billion. So, he didn't give it all away. But, he was still pretty generous. So that's nice. Give a bit back. But, yeah, it's worth mentioning. So, R.I.P. Paul. Thanks for Microsoft and helping out Bill. We certainly appreciate it as Xbox fans.
Died from... What did he die from? Cancer, wasn't it?
Lymphoma. It was non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Isn't that cancer related?
Yeah, I think so. It was complications associated with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. He'd overcome it twice before in 82 and 2009.
It's almost like he's reading the news story I put in the show notes.
Well, you told us too.
Steve,
you didn't specify.
No, what I said was memorize it, Chris. God.
Can I just take just a moment to point out the other great thing about this person is that without things like Xboxes and people like Paul Allen, who as you said, we wouldn't have had an Xbox without, we also then wouldn't have gaming charities where consoles are taken into hospitals and children's wards and stuff like that, so they have things to do. So actually, whatever else you might think, actually, it is a force. Gaming can be a force for good, and the people within it can be a force for good.
We often bitch. Yeah, it's totally true. We often bitch about the negatives a bit because we see so much positivity in gaming that we know it can be better, and it should be better. What we often talk about is people making these games. They bring so much joy to our lives that their lives should also be filled with joy. And a lot of the time, it seems to be filled with fucking misery. And it's just like, you want that to be different. You want them to have a positive experience in life because of what they're bringing us. Yeah. So, we do sometimes come across a bit negative about these stories. But yeah, God damn it, we wouldn't be doing this for 15 years like me and you, Richard, if we didn't love it. Like, if it didn't bring us so much happiness. So,
and remember, I'm the cynical one of these three. So for me to say that.
Absolutely. Gaming brings us all together. It's awesome. So let's talk about a game that has pushed us a little bit further apart because Days Gone has been delayed in a shock to no one, considering the date that it had up against like 14 other huge releases in April. And this game is the one everybody was like, when you ask, well, are you gonna get Metro, Anthem, or Days Gone? Everybody go like, well, obviously Days Gone's gonna have to get. I'm not gonna buy that one.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna buy that one. So yeah, that slipped back a couple of months into. No, it was already April.
It says now to April in the news.
So it went from February. The busy time is in February to April.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was February, of course. Metro and Anthem and stuff is in February. My bad. Yes. So it's gone to April. You guys really upset? Yeah. I mean, devastated. Clearly,
I can't say I'm sold on it. Really. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but
it doesn't look interesting.
I can't get hyped. No, it doesn't.
I mean, it's another open world zombie game.
But you get to play as Sam Witwer on a bike.
But again,
there is that.
You guys know who Sam Witwer is? No. He's the guy that played the Star Killer in the Force Unleashed video games.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, I mean, he's not the biggest name, but he's a name. He's not just no one, Richard. I mean, God.
But surely the game should take precedent over the talent.
But yes, can't argue with that. It looks pretty boring.
I'm just being a dick. Sorry.
No, that's fair. That was a callback. That's fair. I can't argue with that, man. You got me there.
No, I mean, I'm kind of done with zombie games.
Well,
I
I was
don't mind if
excited.
it's good.
No, if it's a good one, yeah. But I mean,
They just enhanced the Left 4 Dead series on Xbox on One X to 4K resolution, Rich, and that's a damn good zombie game.
That is a good zombie game. That is a good zombie game.
Oh.
They did. Yeah. See, he's excited now. Get some co-op of that going. Damn right.
If
Such
anyone's
good
up
games.
for it, please, because I've got them
Yeah.
both installed
So
and
do
I
I.
haven't played them on Xbox One yet.
Are they
Oh, now they're-
cross-platform?
No.
Otherwise, I would.
Sadly
Otherwise,
not,
I would.
man. Sadly not. Let's keep this bad news train rolling.
Yeah.
So cornerstones of the video games magazine business. That's right. I said magazine. If you don't know what that is, that's like a website printed. So the cornerstones of that, Games TM and Games Master, both published by Future, I believe. That's just the name of the publishing company, if I remember right. I'm just checking. Yeah,
That is
Future,
right.
which publish pretty much all video game magazines now, have been folded. And Games Master, after 25 years, that's been around a while. I remember buying many Games Master. I know, Chris, you just bought a game.
I just bought one quite recently. My first gaming magazine in about 6 years.
What made you buy it? I'm curious. What made you buy it?
Because now I'm doing reviews, I should learn about video games on an in-depth level.
I mean, I could send you websites, and you wouldn't have to print them.
Well, I mean, where's the fun in that?
It'd be more current and relevant news that hasn't already become wrong and irrelevant.
You can't put websites in a guinea pig cage, can you?
This is also very true.
I was going to say, Chris, did you buy it because you were visiting someone in hospital or going on an aeroplane?
Neither.
I
I got paid.
How did you get? Did you get lost and stumble into a WH Smith's? I mean, what happened?
I think I needed to push it over the £5 card limit.
I just wanted a bottle of Coke, man. Jesus.
But, I mean, to take this out wider from the game, this is happening across all print media. I'm amazed that they haven't kept a website version of these, an online version. But then there's a lot of online stuff already there for the games industry.
So you mean like a PDF / iOS newsstand version of it, like digital only.
That would cut costs. It wouldn't cut everything because you still have to pay your staff, but it would cut costs. But this is the way the print media is going. You see so many newspapers and other magazines from other industries becoming digital only editions, which is a shame.
Is it? I mean, it is.
It is the way of the modern
jobs.
world.
People losing jobs sucks, right? But
Yeah.
we've been discussing disruption and things like that,
Yeah.
and it's inevitable. I think these guys who have got experience, they'll probably end up getting jobs on websites. I mean, I think especially in the UK, we've got some really good video game websites based here and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That go to Eurogamer and whatever, based in Brighton. There's plenty of places for them to go. But I believe, if I'm trying to remember, I can't remember what it was. It was EGM. So a famous video game magazine in the US, EGM, did what you were saying. It went digital. They closed their physical publication, went digital. It lasted about, I think, 6 months to a year, and then that folded as well. So it's kind of like it just doesn't work. I think that pivot doesn't work because there's already all these established brands, aren't there, online with the IGNs, the Kotakus, the Eurogamers, etc. People aren't going to think EGM and go to their website. They want to pick it up. Right? They want to pick up a Games Master. So I think in the UK we're down to about Edge now, PC Gamer, that sort of thing. There's not that many left. So,
and I'm assuming you've got to assume that the console-specific magazines done by the companies will keep rolling on. You'll still get PSM and Xbox magazines and stuff like that.
Yeah, because they're just promotional tools, really, aren't they? So
so maybe the guys from these magazines can find their way into print media that way. So find their way back.
Sell their soul or just be shills promoting console.
Hey, if it puts food on the table and you don't want your soul, go for it.
But my goddamn journalistic integrity, ethics, man, ethics. God.
Yeah, the Daily Mail pays quite well.
God. Oh, dearie me. Right. The bad news train just keeps on rolling. Yes. So did you guys hear about this crazy promotion that Uber Eats was doing with, I think it was Harry Ramsden's fish and chip shops in 3 locations in the UK? So you ordered your cod and chips through Uber Eats on the day of the launch of Call of Duty Blops 4, and a copy of Call of Duty Blops 4, a digital copy, would come free with your cod and chips. So you get cod with your cod.
Yeah.
Right. You know what? You know what they're saying? If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
Guess what, guys? It was bullshit. So most people who did this on the day were left very disappointed. It turns out reading this article is hilarious. You have to really drill down to it. But when you get to the end, it actually says there were only 40 copies of the game made available for the promotion.
Across 3 stores in major cities.
Yeah, Birmingham, London, and Manchester.
Which is frankly amazing that they ever thought this was going to be a good look for them. Because now whenever you Google this, whenever any memories of this will be about the thousands of people probably, or at least hundreds, that were severely disappointed, and not the 40 people that were really happy with a copy of COD. So that's just mind-blowingly weird.
It
made me laugh though.
It is weird.
I like that Harry Ramsden's basically said, "We didn't do it. It was Uber's. That was Uber Eats. Talk to them." That was
Yeah,
my
but
favorite.
I mean that's so dumb. That's just not how it works, is it? Because
Yeah.
you're going to associate it in your head
Yeah.
with Harry Ramsden, not with the app.
Mhm.
I mean that's just not how it works. You're not going to think of that. Yeah, you guys, they should just not got in bed with them if they didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Maybe they just saw the short gain. Oh, we're gonna sell so many fish and chips. We're gonna be rich. Maybe that's what they cared about.
Someone got seduced by the COD idea, didn't they? Oh, that's a good pun. We must
Yes.
do that. Does it work?
with your
Don't worry about it.
It's too late. We've committed. What do you mean we've only got 40 copies? Just roll with it. Just roll with it. Batter those fish. Batter them up. Just send them out. There's nothing we can do.
You just know someone got a copy of COD that was battered and a plain piece of fish. You just know that happened at some point.
No, the idea they should have done that. They should have, shrink wrapped physical copy that's been battered and deep fried. I imagine the disc would still be okay. I mean, it would probably still be all right because fish can survive it.
But if people didn't know what was going, you just know someone's going to go in with a big one of those, not a typical table knife, one of those big chopping knives. Oh shit!
That would have been
Maybe it was
much
all
better.
just a clever satire of the fact that this marketing campaign that didn't exist was for a game that has no campaign.
Oh!
Mic drop.
Yeah.
And he's out. Nicely done. So I think with that, we'll move on from news and get into game reviews. Yeah, I can't follow that. There's no following that. So that's it. There's no more news. News is cut off.
It is.
Forever.
That's it.
Let me think. What do we do? Let's talk about it's food related. Let's talk about Overcooked 2 DLC, Rich, briefly. There's not a huge amount to say here, but
There isn't a lot to say, is there? I think
your review was very fair and very good, and then everybody should check it out on the site.
Ben and I both played Overcooked 2's DLC, which is called, remind me.
I can't fucking remember.
Surf and turf, according to your own website, Ben.
Thank you.
I have honestly written this myself. There is a review.
And I proofread it, but and published it, whatever. But that's fine.
Yeah, so Surf and Turf is kind of what it sounds like. It's new maps, new kitchens for Overcooked 2's main game, and they're all set on a beach. You've got new recipes that include smoothies and kebabs. Although I haven't played enough to actually see it, there's apparently a new water pistol in the game as well. So you can put out fires from a distance. You can push your fellow chefs around the kitchen and other things, apparently.
Richard.
Ben,
What do you mean you've not played enough of the DLC? The features of the game. What are you doing, mate?
It's not.
What,
It's not for
I
want
should
of
fire
trying.
you right now.
It's not for want of trying, as you can attest.
Shocking.
Because I first tried this on my own, right, and which everyone knows is a bad idea. Because Overcooked 2 is a multiplayer game. You can kind of play it on your own, but you're a fool for doing so. Each kitchen has a minimum score requirement for you to earn between 1 and 3 stars. Stars will unlock subsequent levels. Playing on my own, I was unable to get more than 1 star on the first level, and that took 5-6 attempts. It's really hard.
So I heard this, and I was like, "That's just Richard's a scrub. Like, he's shit. Like, he needs me to come in. I need to get in there. I need to show him how it's done. We'll 3-star, 3-star, 3-star. We'll just roll on through. Oh God, this is hard. Like,
And
oh, this
not
is
not
really
even hard for any real reason, was it? It's not like the level itself was a challenge.
Nope.
It was easy recipes, not too difficult to get a rhythm going between us, chucking ingredients over the work surfaces between us, and we did pretty well actually. And
Yeah.
we'd almost
I thought
nailed it pretty perfectly.
Honestly, I thought we got our timing to the point where it was like 98% of as good as it could ever get.
Really efficient.
Like, yeah.
And we still only edged 2 stars.
Yeah.
Weirdly, getting 1 star does unlock the second level, but only to the point where you can see what the level is. It won't actually let you into it. Really bizarre. So we finally got 2 stars and got into that level, and that was pretty much the end of us, wasn't it? So
I mean, I was getting pissed. I was getting pissed off just playing that first fucking level, because repeating that, we did that level half a dozen times before we cleared it with 2 stars, and then getting into that second level, and it was just as soon as we did it, and we got it down pretty quick. Again, it wasn't that hard, the concept and the ingredients and stuff like that, and the recipe, and then to see how far off we were, I was just like, mate, I'm fucked. This is fucked. I'm out. I'm not. This isn't fun. It's not. The whole point of a game like that. It needs to feel like a challenge, but it needs to drip feed you progress, so that you feel like you're accomplishing things and that you're actually succeeding. Otherwise, it very quickly turns you off. And all I can think of is that it's DLC designed purely for people that have finished and aced the campaign, so that they're so good and they're so honed that you can just dive into this DLC and you'll get through it. For us, we've done a lot of the campaign. We played quite a lot of Overcooked, but not like recently and not to the level I think that DLC needs. A bit disappointing.
It's purely for experts, and it's a bit disappointing that it doesn't really tell you that. I mean, in some of the promotion material, it will tell you that if you finish the 12 new missions that are in there, then you can unlock an even harder difficulty to get 4 stars. And having played it, that just sounds insane to me. I don't know who this is for, really, because you might get someone who's like uber into Overcooked 2 and just wants to be perfect at it. But what, 4 people? Do you know any 4 people that want to play this together to that level? It's just madness to me. So madness. Overcooked 2 is a great game, but the DLC, I don't know why anyone would want it, frankly. Stick with the main game.
Yeah, I'm gonna quickly touch on a little game I've been playing on Switch, which is I haven't looked into this yet. I haven't written the review yet, but it's very clearly an iOS port. Feel free to Google this when I say Battle Group 2. Basically, you're a ship commander. Your ship moves from left to right across the screen. It's more like a little group of ships, actually. And then you're like using the touchscreen. You could use the Joy-Cons, but fuck knows why or how you would want to do that. Because you have to basically lead the targets and launch missiles to intercept the enemies. So it's all about timing and quick responses, and you can do things to slow down time and have various power-ups and stuff. But it's all very nicely touchscreen. So I've got to guess it's an iOS port or an Android port, because it's so much a mobile game. But it's not a little game. I like naval combat stuff. I like the kind of like quasi or near future sci-fi setting. I like the upgrade mechanics. I like the challenge of it. It works nicely. It's not going to ever set the world on fire with its brilliance, but it looks good, plays good, sounds good, does what you want from a game like that. Can we confirm this is a mobile game?
Yes, it was released on mobile August 14th, 2014.
What? 2014?
Yep.
Holy crap! They're really putting anything on Switch now.
according to Metacritic, it's got no score because only 2 people have done critiques of it, and
it's 3 now.
It's mixed. It's mixed. But I believe it's a free download on the Apple Store.
All right, this is Battle Group 2 specifically, yeah.
Battle Group 2, yeah.
Okay.
However, you can also get it on Steam for PC.
$8.
Yeah, $5.59.
I think it's something like that on Switch as well, but a little bit more expensive because everything's a bit more expensive on Switch.
Yes.
But no, it's fine. It's fun. I enjoy it because it's a nice bit of challenge. The stages are quite short. It's quite pick up and play. It's a really nice portable on the go game. Like I said, there is analog stick control, but it would be so slow. Like the whole point is that you can fire off quickly, just tapping where you want the rockets to go and stuff, and to intercept the planes and the ships and the missiles that are being fired at you. Doing that with the analog stick would be impossible. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. That's all I've got to say right now about
It's also 4 years old on Steam. Just
Ow.
so...
But yeah, Switch, man. It's like a new lease of life for all your old games. Publishers, get that port across now.
Waiting for Angry Birds 1 to come out on the Switch.
Dude, it's like all these games were pitched for Wii U and they're just now coming out on the console they can sell.
Could be. Chris,
yes.
you did a lovely video review, another excellent video review, sir. Beautiful looking, partly because of your lovely editing, but partly because the game itself has got some stunning.
It's gorgeous.
So do tell us a bit about Ella, or is it ELEA?
It is.
I noticed it was capitals.
It is Alea.
Alea.
Alea. It's a very intriguing first start to an episodic game. Yeah, the graphics are genuinely beautiful. If you enjoy surrealism, you'll enjoy this for the first half of it, and then it goes very not surreal. But yeah, it's a good game. You play as Alea, and then insert 4 random names here. I think her last name is Jones. And you are, quote, a space scientist on a spaceship. I want to be a space scientist. I think that's a brilliant job title. What do? I'm a space scientist.
What do you mean, like physics and like stuff? No, all of it. All of it.
Space.
Everything in space. Well, the Earth is in space, so everything on the Earth, is that space?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes,
everything.
I am
You're a scientist of everything. Yep.
I'm a god scientist, essentially.
God tier scientist.
I'm just a scientist of where there isn't anything there.
Yes.
Oh, right. So the space is between everything rather than space. No, I like that. That's good.
I'm a space scientist. I'm good with feng shui. But yeah. But yeah, you play as space scientist Alea Jones while she is on a mission. The mission, you get the impression that she's one of those kind of characters where I get the impression it was not necessarily a military mission, but she wasn't part of the crew on that sort of level. I think she was. I want to go with you because you're going somewhere I want to go. Oh, all right then. Because the captain is a bit of a dick to you. But yeah, it follows her experiences. Her husband disappeared 13 years prior to the start of the game.
Oh, move on, bitch. Jesus.
I know, yeah. And she's desperate to find him. And I think
really 13 years.
Yeah, the ship she's on is going towards his ship, and so the first half of the game is very much. I think because it doesn't really give you much context for the surrealism, but I think it's very much about her mindset. But I didn't really get the surrealism, but it does look brilliant, and they've done a fantastic job making it look amazing. So you kind of go, I don't get it, but it's beautiful. So
the next thing I'll get you to review. Yeah. No, Xbox. I think it's on Xbox. I saw it come up on Xbox. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I can easily Google that.
So let me get this right. Chris likes visuals that don't make sense.
That it is. Yes, it is on Xbox.
So I will get Chris to review a music visualizer next.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You know me. I'll review pretty much anything you send me. If you send me one of your old bacon sarnies, I'll still review it.
No, I've eaten those. Sorry, I like.
Well, but yeah, it's a good game. It's a very good start to an episodic game series. It's nothing spectacular. There are still issues with it. I think the story side of the writing of it could be better. And for the most part, the voice acting is good, so they bring it across. And again, it was a good example of good performances making a mediocre script look better than it actually is. But yeah, I would cautiously recommend it. And there's enough there, I think, to keep watching for the next episode. But episodic games, as we know, we'll either get it next week or in 5 years' time. Yeah. So,
what was that amazing one on PC? The one with that beautiful art style that took forever to finish. I'm being really specific with that description, by the way.
Yeah. I mean,
God, what was it called? I loved it.
Still not quite done, is it?
About to remember now. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully I'll be able to sort you out with an episode 2, and you can continue looking.
Fingers crossed. Yes, I would happily continue that adventure. But if developers happen to watch this, spend a little bit longer on the script, I think.
So talking of adventures in space, From light and surreal to grim dark, full of gene stealers and terminators, Richard has been playing Space Hulk Tactics.
It's dead good, you know, considering I wasn't that excited for it. You sent it me out of the blue, and I was like, oh, Space Hulk, that's a bit of a throwback, because it's based on the really old, by now, Games Workshop board game, which came out, what, 80s, 90s?
Yeah.
Probably late 80s. And I've played a video game version of it before. I played it on the Sega Saturn a while back, obviously.
Oh, wow. Proud of you for that one.
I really enjoyed it. There's a thing about conversions of board games to video games that I typically don't get on with, in that they tend to simulate the experience of a board game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of not what video games are for. I think for me, a video game has to bring... it loses the tactility of a board game, obviously, but what it can bring is a bit more live action. It adds the music, the tension, the realism to the experience, rather than it just being plastic bits on your dinner table. So
yeah,
Space Hulk does the job of converting to the medium really well. So it follows the rules of Space Hulk. It's still turn-based. It's based on Terminators versus Gene Stealers, which is basically a parallel for the Aliens movies. So it's Ripley and all her mates taking on aliens in something that looks like LV-427. Is that what it's called? I think that's
the
right.
planet.
Yeah,
sounds right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so you take a squad of Marines into a Space Hulk, which is sort of a mass of crashed spacecrafts, all in one mass that's populated by these gene stealer creatures, and you have to go in and take them out. There's different missions, so you might have to upload something from a console, or just take out a certain number of gene stealers, or protect something for a certain number of turns. But essentially all of it is around the basic mechanic of sending your Terminators in through an entrance. They have a certain number of moves that they can spend per turn. That includes turning around, because they're quite big, bulky fellas in heavy armor, so it takes a lot to get them moving. And facing them, these gene stealers are more nimble. They have more speed, so they can travel faster, further, and are more devastating when attacking up close in melee combat. And the Terminators are more geared towards projectile attacks, so they've got guns and whatever.
Nice.
But yeah, as I was saying, it all plays out really well within the medium, because it doesn't look like a board game. You still have the elevated view. It starts off isometric, but you can move the camera around to pretty much whichever angle you like, even down close into the corridors, and see everything up close. There's even first-person perspective mode, so you can actually walk around as the Terminators. It's still the same rules. It's still turn-based, but you can physically walk forward and whichever direction you want to move within that body, within that avatar, and it just makes it feel far more intimate and atmospheric than it otherwise would have been if you're just playing the board game. And it just looks really good as well. So the way that the Gene Stealers move, it feels exactly as you would expect from if it was a high caliber like Alien game. Just the way that they move around is just really well animated and looks good.
Awesome.
And I've really enjoyed the time that I've played with it. The downside, being a board game parallel, it is supposed to be played with friends. I don't know anyone that plays it. I've tried to play online with strangers, and I haven't been able to find a game. So I don't know if that's just because I played it in the first few days after launch, or whether it was a problem with me or what. I don't know. But I couldn't find anybody to play with, so I've been limited to the campaigns at the moment. But from what I've played of those, they are good fun and they're good value in themselves. So you get a campaign where you're playing as the Terminators. You can play from the Gene Stealer perspective as well, and that just adds a different slant to the gameplay. where instead of a finite amount of Terminators, you can just constantly bring what they call them blips into the map, which again, like Alien, the Terminators can see something on their scanners, but they can't quite tell what it is. So you're moving these blips around the map that might turn out to be nothing. It might turn out to be 1, 2, or 3 gene stealers that just suddenly appear. And it's a really dynamic, free-flowing game that doesn't feel like a board game. It's got an edge of sort of excitement to it that I didn't expect. So yeah, recommended.
Awesome, man. Awesome. I look forward to your full review soon, man. I'm really glad you enjoyed that. When I got code, I was a bit like, I'm not sure about this, but Richard. And it's like, oh, it turned out it's awesome. Fantastic.
Can we just always take a moment to appreciate the fact that no matter what age you get to, whatever context it is, the words "I couldn't find anybody to play with" are the saddest words in the English language. It's awful. It's awful. I genuinely felt for you. I tried to play online, but I couldn't find anybody to play with. I was like, oh.
Give him a cuddle. Play with me, Richard. Play with us anytime you want, my man. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Right, I'm going to touch on something cool, though. I've only just started playing it, but it's like Ben sex juice. It's like designed for me to love.
I mean,
okay. Where you going?
I wanted to paint a picture. I wanted to paint a picture. Project
with
Warlock.
Ben juice.
But yeah, it's vivid.
As a
and the reason I went for the coarser description is because it's taking me back to my youth. It's taking me back to the late 80s and the early 90s when I discovered PC video games.
You're going to say when you discovered jizz.
Well, that too. It was all hand in hand, if you know what I mean.
We have. Why?
Come on. You got me going on this, guys. It's your fault.
Anybody got any Limp Bizkit to play in the background?
Accurate. But my choice would be more Linkin Park than Limp Bizkit, but that's fine. So Project Warlock is a love letter to Doom, Hexen, Wolfenstein 3D. It has this art style that immediately takes you back to that era. But in addition, it's been beautifully modernized with like modern lighting effects, modern particle effects, and frighteningly developed by a guy who's like 19 years old. So he wasn't even alive when these games were coming out that he's written a love letter to. But more props to him because he certainly gets it. It's fast paced. It has a myriad of enemies, dozens of guns, loads of just non-stop action. It's hard. It's unforgiving. You're gonna die. You're gonna have to restart. There's no save points in the level. You have to start again. It's got a slight roguelike element to it because games can't come out today without one. But there's leveling and there's a ways of like updating your guns and improving things, and you get like skill points. So there's definitely like modern influences throughout. But at its core, it's this gorgeous homage to those games that got me into first-person shooters. So it's like impossible for me not to love, really. It's just great. It's great. It's got a great soundtrack, great look to it. I'm going to play a lot more. I'm going to do a video review so you guys can all see it, but I definitely recommend checking it out. It is right now exclusive to GOG.com, which is pretty cool that they have that exclusivity actually, because GOG.com deserves your patronage. That is probably the best digital storefront for PC games on the planet right now. But yeah, super cool, guys. Like, is there anything you wanted more to know about it than that? I mean, all you need to know is you can jib lots of cool monsters everywhere.
8-bit soundtrack?
No, I don't think so. I think that I'm trying. You know what? I'm gonna have to check that. I mean, if it is 8-bit, it's very, very good. I think there's probably 8-bit inspired, but yeah. I believe there's more to it. There's a lot of that going on in this game where it's connected to that stuff that you remember from the past, but it's modernizing a lot of the elements. Yeah, bringing it forward into today, especially the lighting. Like, there's some really, really good lighting in this game where you have a spell because you're a warlock, as well as having loads of guns, where you can like cast an area of effect light, like you could in say a Skyrim, and you don't notice how effective that is until you do it. Also, things like firing just your weapon will cause bloom lighting as well, nice. Which will illuminate all your surroundings. For in a game like this, it's a really compelling kind of art that all comes together
Yeah.
with the lighting and the particle effects. It's very, very well
It
done.
does look cool, like Doom crossed with Hexen, but bright.
And modern but retro all at
Yes.
once. Yeah, it's hard to describe, but it's badass. Yeah. Chris, I sent you a little game, another preview, an early look, as we call them on Bxb'S Games, for Hyper Parasite. And when I saw this, I was like, that sounds curious. I wonder if it's any good. Chris, what are your feelings?
It's fun. I'll give it that.
Cool. Moving on. No.
It's another isometric game. You can't zoom in on this one. It's reminds me a little bit of an isometric version of Hypergun, the game I reviewed. It's my second review, going back all those many weeks, and but the difference between it and Hypergun is that this one doesn't feel like a grind. This one does feel genuinely fun. It's another shout out to the arcadey style shooters from back in the. I can imagine if I walked into a games arcade now, they don't exist, but if I walked into somewhere that had those arcade machines in the corner, I can imagine this being on them and being quite a popular game. The basic premise is that you play as an alien parasite, and the only way for you to survive on this planet is to take over the body of a human being. My first recommendation is if you ever play this, I would go for a melee character because the controls are a bit shanky. But then again, I suppose that's in keeping with the style. It's not a game that's designed to be easy, but it's good fun. It's good fun. You're fighting around dystopian, very 80s style levels. And yeah.
To the extent that Ronald Reagan's in the game, apparently.
Yes. Yes, there are a couple of...
Do I get to possess Ronald Reagan with my parasiteness?
You can do if you survive long enough. Yes, you can do.
That's pretty cool.
I'm pretty sure The thing is, this is the problem with me in games like this. I'm not very good at them. But actually, I will say this: despite not being very good, it doesn't make me feel like I'm not very good. It feels like, yes, I died early because that's just how the game works. It didn't feel like it was me that was the problem, which is actually. I guess a backhanded compliment, I guess, or a fob off from me. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's one of those two. But yeah, no, it's a good game, and I'm actually looking forward to playing a little bit more of it before I complete my review of it. So yeah, no, it's
awesome, man.
When it comes,
I made you do it. I forced you to do another review, even though you said, "Oh, I'm gonna need some time off," and I'm like, "How about one more? Give me one more, Chris, before you take some time off." You ain't got a choice.
I wish it wasn't called Hyper Parasite though, because it's made me search that term and it doesn't bring up.
Oh dear!
Always put in game.
Yes, it's good advice. Actually,
Richard, what do you? It's like if you're looking for cool noughties bands, children, do not just Google search bare naked ladies. Made that mistake once, got in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, that sounds cool, man. I look forward to your full coverage of that. Well, your preview coverage of it.
Yes.
So not a proper review, obviously. Okay, so I've left the big one till last, and I've already done an extensive, detailed review of WWE 2K19.
The big one.
I mean, all right. I'm going to start with this, Richard. I imagine you'll have some questions that you can ask me. That'll
not
be
many.
No. Okay, fair enough. I'll start with this very simply. It's the best WWE 2K game this generation, right? But Richard's like, yeah, low bar.
I was just saying,
he's not wrong.
Having seen your decision on the website, shall I say, that is not saying a lot.
I mean, I gave the previous year 2 stars. So
it is an improvement. It's an improvement.
It's a step up.
Progress, however slow.
So the most obvious and enjoyable change in this game is the story mode. It's now fully voiced with lots of wrestler voice work throughout as well. Various talent and stuff from Triple H to Alexa Bliss to Jinder Mahal. Yay! to Baron Corbin, and the hilarious thing is some of these wrestlers, Daniel Bryan,
Baron Corbin recorded dialogue for a game.
yeah, he did. But some of these wrestlers are much better at doing this than others. So some of the reads are unbelievably bad. Daniel Bryan's comes to mind as a standout. Awkward dialogue, and I don't want to be doing this. And others get into it a lot more and really go with it and enjoy it. And like, you know, Bobby Roode has a big part of it because he's like the first belt you go for, the US title belt, when you're playing the story mode. So he cuts a promo against you, and you cut a promo against him, and he's good, isn't he? He's really good. Now he gets into it a bit, though he's not quite as lively as he would be in person. Like you know, when you watch the TV presentation, he does it well. Obviously, Triple H does it well throughout. One of the weirdest things which I really liked is that so there's a character, I don't know if you remember, whenever you did the sort of story modes, Rich, you'd always fight a kind of jobber wrestler called Baron Blade. You'd always fight him. Do you remember him?
No.
So he becomes this fully voiced, pretty important character in this one, where he's like the owner of the indie promotion that you start in called BCW. Which is hilarious, and he plays more and more into the story as it goes along as well. But the actual voice acting for your character, you've got like a close personal jobber wrestler friend as well, and it's really good. They have a really good camaraderie. It really makes you care. There's funny bits that make you really genuinely like smile and laugh. There's some quite touching bits. It's surprisingly, you know, a comprehensive story mode with decent enough cutscenes and, like I said, lots of voice acting. They've made it a much more visual representation for your leveling system now. It's not just making bars go up, but you have like a skill tree you can pick from, which gives you various abilities. It's probably the biggest. It's a goofy story. It's funny. It's broken. Like, it's not. I mean, everything in this game has elements that are broken. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I mean, the biggest problem with the story mode is you start incredibly low level. And by the time you get on SmackDown, you're like 25 points beneath the wrestlers you're fighting, you know, and their rating would be. So you're having a real struggle. Put it this way. The first match, so I had the US title match, which was my first singles match on SmackDown. I'm level 50 something. I'm fighting Bobby Roode in a 15-minute Iron Man match, right? It's going okay. I'm doing all right. I'm building up my shit. I'm doing okay. I'm wearing him down. I get a pin. Right, it's going okay. Right, finisher. He reverses it. Steals my finisher power. Hits me with a finisher and pins me. Right? Okay, all right. You know, hands up. I'll work my way up again. One each. Finisher. I hit him with my finisher. Nope. He reverses it. Pins me. And then at this point, because I'm so low level, I've taken a lot of damage. So I'm basically like dead on my feet. So 6-2 was the score after 15 minutes to Bobby Roode. 6 pins to my 2. Because he kept reversing my finishers to the point where I was completely destroyed and then couldn't even kick out of anything. So the game's balancing is fucked. Like, so this was on medium with no adjustments to sliders for reversals or anything. So I had to ended up cutting a promo differently against him. So I had a slightly more forgiving match type. So I ended up having a best of 3 falls, which I won 2-0. So there are issues in the game with like difficulty spikes and balancing of especially the reversals of finishers. The AI seems way too good at hitting you with finishers, whereas your finishers, which are prompted by a button prompt on the screen, the actual window to hit that seems to change with every move. It doesn't even seem to represent, the button prompt on the screen doesn't even seem to represent half the time when to actually hit the button. It's almost like you have to somehow anticipate things before they happen to actually hit the reversal effectively. And that's kind of always been a problem with the WWE game, is the reversal windows are fucked up and weird. But it's an ongoing issue which you'd think they would fix, but they still have not.
It's weird, isn't it? They've had long enough to get just the fundamentals of it right. Why doesn't it just work at its basic level? It sounds like it's going in the right direction, though, because all sports games, wrestling should be the one that has the best single-player campaign.
Yes. At the moment, it would be NBA 2K19 or the 2K series from NBA. And obviously, this is very much part of that. They're part of the 2K family and has clearly been inspired by the NBA games. Made by Visual Concepts. They've looked at that and gone, we should be moving in that direction. I wish they had their fucking engine though. Oh my god, the graphics engine in the NBA game is stunning. And
I was going to say the graphics look not awful, but
no, they're improving, but they are not NBA levels. You know, they really aren't. Especially things like the hair and stuff like that. So yeah, there's lots of other modes. I know we've got a hard finish here at 9 o'clock, so I want to get going. We've only got about 15 minutes left on the clock here, but there's universe mode is blown out and bigger than ever. There's this new mode called Towers, which is more like a structured sort of like mini series of matches which you can do, kind of like the fighting towers from the Mortal Kombat games, if you remember those, Richard. So you'd fight and Chris, you'd fight like 4 or 5 different opponents, and you get various rewards. It's a nice bit of structure, so you're not just going in and picking random matches, you know, from the single player. Obviously the multiplayer suite is in there. It's a very fully featured game. They've gone to town with just chucking everything they could at this edition. I think the problem is that there's so much they've put in, and they've done quite a lot of changes this year, a lot more than any of the previous games. That's where we're getting more jank when it comes to the actual wrestling, because they haven't had time to polish it, I don't think. So I think this will be a better foundation for next year, hopefully. But yeah, there's a lot of just glitchiness, like catching the ropes, and how it will freak out the whole ring, and your wrestler will, like, his limbs will twist and break in weird ways because it's glitched around the rope. At one point when both my wrestlers' arms were backwards, and like he just looked like a crazy chicken man. It was just like, there's a lot of that, a lot of really glitchy games. It always produces good glitches, WWE, every single year. Weird introduction of card packs. There's 3 virtual currencies in this game. So there's VC, tokens and premium tokens. However, there are no microtransactions. So you can't actually spend any of your own money on this. They just decided to make it as complicated as possible for actually unlocking stuff.
How strange.
Don't know why they did that. Don't know why they did it.
All the annoying bits of pay-to-play games, but without
the pay-to-play.
Don't get it at all. They kind of did it last year, but they've doubled down on it this year. They've gone even deeper into it. So everything in this game, every superstar, every piece of ring attire, every move is locked when you start playing. And you have to spend one of the 3 currencies to unlock it. So VC you can spend directly, but obviously it costs you more. The tokens you can spend on the card packs, which will give you random things to unlock. So it's a very strange gating system that sort of puts all the cool stuff away, so you can't use it. It's like, oh, I'm going to make my wrestler look like this, and he's going to have these moves. Oh, it's going to cost me 17,000 VC just to get the finisher I want from my creator wrestler. That's how much it cost me. And it was just like, that's a lot. I was given to review the fancy pants version of the game, which came with 50,000 VC, a bunch of tokens, and the ability to unlock all the wrestlers immediately. Trust me, if you didn't have that, you're going to quickly want to go and buy it, because those extra bits of DLC, because otherwise you will be grinding for a long time to open all that stuff.
It's still technically pay to win. It's just not microtransactions.
So
they're pushing you towards the deluxe edition now.
So the deluxe edition content, which is the My Player Kickstarter and the accelerator packs. The accelerator pack will give you all the wrestlers unlocked and all the arenas unlocked. The My Player Kickstarter gives you 50,000 VC and some tokens. It's not enough to unlock everything. Not even close.
No, but
not even 2% probably. Like that's how much stuff there is in the game that has to be unlocked. I'm talking different teeth for your wrestler. I'm talking tattoos. I'm talking shorts. I'm talking hairstyles. I'm talking eyebrows. I'm like, literally everything has to be unlocked and cost something to unlock. It's very strange, because the creation suite is amazing. It is like possibly the best creation suite in any game going. Like, I'm talking RPGs, I'm talking sports games. It is so detailed what you can do to create your wrestlers. And yet they're going, this is amazing, this is amazing. You'll only be able to use it after you put 200 hours in, like properly. But it's fantastic. Oh, it's amazing. So it's some weird decisions. I mean, overall, I enjoyed my time, mostly for the story. I really like the universe mode, being able to create your own WWE product, you know, your different shows and with different lineups with the real wrestlers. Yeah, it's a good game, hence the 3 stars. But there's just some very strange choices. But there's always strange choices in this franchise, and at its core, the wrestling is still a bit shit. But it's better than Fire Pro, so I'll give it a plus for that. I think we've only got time for one game, guys, and as it's the one other game we've all played.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk a bit more about Fallout 4 with all of you before we do the quiz. How does that sound?
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good.
Is that all right, Rich? Unless is there anything you've got a fairly long list there? Is there anything you desperately wanted to touch on? You've played so many things. Doom and Bastion stand out to me as amazing ones from your list.
They're great. I'm going to give a shout out quickly to Celeste. I won't go too deeply into it, but I've played Celeste again this week after finishing it when it came out. It's still great. I'd noticed that no one else on my friends list is playing Celeste. Fucking buy it, Jesus Christ!
I'm going to play it on my Switch though. I want to play it on Switch.
Okay, yeah, as long as you play it, it's great. So I've nearly finished it. I've done all of the main stuff. I've collected all the strawberries. I'm now onto the B-sides, which are like more difficult versions of all of the levels, and I'm smashing through those one at a time because it's exhausting, but they're so rewarding to do. Please play Celeste, anyone that hasn't. You can talk about Fallout 4 now.
Before we talk about Fallout, though, Chris,
yes,
Forza Horizon has become a big part of your rotation, hasn't it?
Oh, yes, it has. Yes, I love that game.
So good. So good.
I love that game. And the fact that it was made very locally to me in Leamington Spa.
Oh, awesome.
Makes it even better. I actually know there's a woman who I work with or works in the same basic office as I do. And her fiance actually worked on the game.
Oh wow!
So she saw that I played it for my stream. She said, "What do you think?" I said, "Yeah, it's a really, really nice game." She said, "I'll tell him," because he I don't know whether they crunched for that. I suppose I could ask. We could get some insider knowledge, but
well, let us know. We'll get a studio visit going. Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
I'll come down for that.
I'll have a chat. I said, "Look, I work for this game reviewing company."
I work for, love it. Yeah, in the same way they get paid for crunch.
Yes. Actually, Richard, that's the point. We should unionize.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, legit. I couldn't even argue with you.
But no, I mean, yeah, people watching this or listening to this, if you haven't played it, play it. You probably have played it and are far ahead than I am. I think I've just hit level 20. But what a game! What a game!
It's stunning.
It's a good game. It's everything we thought it would be.
Probably one of the best driving games ever. I would go as far as saying.
Yeah.
Richard's nodding in agreement. Doesn't play on radio.
It is. It's great. I was just musing to myself: have I played Forza 4 properly yet? Because I go through this thing with every Forza game. I have to. This probably explains my 250,000 achievements. I have to go through every single road of Forza Horizon before I can play the game properly. It's weird, isn't it?
Fuck is that?
Weird. What are you doing? Colouring in all the roads, and I can't stop. But it's done now. So next time I play Forza Horizon 4, it will be actually playing the game.
I have no words. Never heard of that one before.
So you haven't done a single race?
Oh, I've done them. Yeah, I've done the odd few, but I've spent far more time just colouring the map in.
Weird.
Mind you, that being said, I spent a good portion of one of my streams of it racing the Flying Scotsman. Unwittingly realizing I was preempting the game.
So Fallout 4, quickly.
Yes.
I got back into it. I did a couple of bits of missions. I'm doing more into the Mechanist storyline, which I'm really enjoying from the DLC. But it was nice to pick it up again. That game's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. Yeah. It's got a nice look to it. It's got some weird things that feel a bit dated already in its interface and stuff. It's a bit backwards and in what you'd expect from like conventions about navigating menus and just mobility. But no, it's cool. Yeah, Richard, you played
better than I thought though. I've only played like an hour or so. Yeah, for my first time playing it, I've only played like an hour. Yeah. So it's enough to get out of the introduction, the family scene, all that stuff that happens. I won't ruin it for anybody. I thought it looked nice. It's been updated for Xbox One X, isn't it? So it's 4K.
Yes. Yeah,
it looks pretty smooth. The frame rate is not brilliant, but it looks good enough. Better than I thought it would look. And I think I'll probably go back to it for a bit. Main reason I played it was because it was in that Game Pass challenge thing for this month. And
did that earn you gamer points?
No, I'll tell you what it did earn me. They sent me £5 for playing an hour of Fallout 4, which I thought was incredible. So
Hold on. I've been playing that game since literal release day. Where's my £5?
Wrong platform, mate. What can I say? You got to get an Xbox.
Yeah,
dog.
clearly.
Good
Sort it
deal.
out. It's more
So,
rewarding.
another reason why Game Pass is a great service.
I think we need to make this our kind of book club game. So we'll come back to that. I definitely want to play a bit more of it.
All
Though
right.
God knows how we'll find the time with Red Dead out next week. But so we get on to the bit you've all been waiting for. It's quiz time.
Yeah.
point,
I look forward to these. I'm glad.
I'm enjoying these. I'm enjoying putting them together for you, and I'm enjoying watching you all suffer. So let's start with question number 1. It's going to be quite quick, boys. So we're going to not too many deliberations. Get in with your answers.
Chris,
I will say Chris goes. Chris, you answer first, and then Richard.
Yeah,
okay,
that's cool.
So,
yeah.
who is the cover star of WWE 2K19?
I literally just read this. AJ Styles.
Correct.
Oh,
Richard was going to get it anyway, weren't you, Rich? Let's be
I
honest.
was definitely going to get that.
Yeah, so that's a point each. So Chris has been doing research. I love it. That's so cute. Ready for the quiz? Okay, for the bonus point. No Google. Who was the cover star of the first 2K game? 2K14 for wrestling WWE.
14.
2K14.
14. Yeah.
John Cena.
That's your answer.
Undertaker.
Yeah, both wrong. It was The
John
Rock.
Cena or Stone Cold.
It was The Rock.
It was The Rock.
It was The Rock.
Was it?
It was The Rock. Yeah.
I don't remember him being on it. Right, I wouldn't ever have got that.
Chris Roberts, the director for Star Citizen, was lead designer for which 1990s franchise? Chris first, please.
Jeez.
Oh, you see,
Super easy.
This is why I started buying the game magazines that are now defunct. Oh, that hit my guitar. The short answer is I don't know.
So,
Can you take a punt? You gonna take a punt, Richard? You gonna take a punt first?
Wing Commander.
Chris.
Oh, yeah,
Wing Commander is
I'm
correct.
assuming that makes sense. Yeah, of course that makes sense because
Okay, so an extra point for the newly announced Legatus Star Citizen pack. How much do you have to spend?
It's this closest guess wins, is it?
Yeah, I'll do that.
$14.99.
Richard,
What's it called again?
the Legatus Star Citizen. Well, it's a pack for Star Citizen called Legatus.
Okay.
Just been announced.
$200.
Well, Richard's closer,
Yeah,
but I don't want to give him. I
closest.
don't want to give him a point. I don't want to give him a point. He's not really close. It's $27,000. Plus, you can only buy it if you've already spent $1,000 in the game already. So $28,000 minimum.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm not going to give you either a point because you were so far away.
That's fair. That's fair.
No, so far away. Okay, what year did the first Call of Duty come out in?
Oh, 02?
Richard?
I think it's later than that. Call of Duty 2 came out with the Xbox 360.
Work it back. So what's it going to be?
5. So
2005? No.
No. That's Call of Duty 2. So Call of Duty 1 will be 2004.
Well, neither of you.
3?
2002. It was 2003. Yeah. So 2002 and 2004. You split the difference, like you did last week on a question. I remember.
Yeah.
So, and an extra point for what handheld console was this released on? The first Call of Duty.
On a handheld console.
Yes.
Nintendo
It was a port.
DS?
Going for DS from Chris. Richards.
Wasn't on DS.
Of course it wasn't. That was my guess. I mean,
do you mean the original version or a Call of Duty?
It's a port of the original Call of Duty.
Oh, I don't know that. I'm going to guess Vita because I know there was a Call of Duty game.
No, way too late. The Nokia N-Gage.
Shit, I nearly said that. Oh God!
You would have had it. Oh well. Who composed the fantastic soundtrack for Bastion? A little bit of editorial in that question from me because I think it is.
I know this. Do you want me to say it or?
Chris, then. Chris,
the only game music composer I know that specifically does it is Jeremy Soule, who does the Elder Scrolls games. So unless it's him, no, go for it, Richard.
Darren Korb.
Correct, Richard.
Oh, nice.
For an extra point, when did Supergiant debut the game? What year?
I don't know why I'm making this face. I haven't got a clue.
Yeah, but you can do you can work it out, I suppose. You can try and work it out.
Bastion.
Have you got anything, Rich?
2011.
Okay, Chris?
I was going to go 2013.
2010, so no points.
Uh,
What is the maximum numbers of players possible in any single world / server at once in Fallout 76?
Too many.
Anything more than one is shit. Yeah.
Let's see. It's going to be a 64.
Okay. Rich?
I'm going to say 76.
32. 32. No point.
It was a multiple of 8. So.
In the extra point, in what year does Fallout 76 take place? I like the year questions.
Yeah. 2276.
Richard?
2176.
2102.
Ah.
Earlier, way earlier.
Oh, that's the number of the.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a low scoring one, this one.
Yes.
What's the name of your character in Red Dead Revolver?
You swine.
Red Dead Revolver. Oh,
Didn't even play that game.
no.
Chuck Winstead. I've just made that up.
Nice. That's good. I like it, though. It's kind of better than what they went with. So.
Bint Westwood.
Bint Westwood.
Yes.
Bint. I'm not sure that's a first name, but okay. It's actually Red Harlow. Now we do. Well, yeah, exactly. It's a bit like
a colour and a boring English town.
Yeah.
Extra point. Who is the leader of John Marston's former gang?
Oh, fuck you.
Obviously, the leader of his current gang in the sequel as well. So this should be easy.
I don't know.
I would accept just his first name.
Oh, I want to. I'm probably going down an entirely wrong franchise route here. There's only one name I've got in my head, and I'm sure it's wrong. But Billy Creel, it's not him. I know it's not. As soon as I said that, I know it's not. Why am I saying stuff?
It's the pressure. The pressure.
Oh.
Richard, anything?
I'd be making it up again. Carlito something.
No. Carlito.
No, it's a proper Western name, isn't it?
Well, kinda. I don't know, but yeah, the first name's quite Westerny. Should I tell you, boys? As you're struggling both you horribly, Dutch van der Linde.
Oh,
Dutch.
I wouldn't have got the last name. I could have got Dutch. Fuck.
Now the next one's an interesting one because you've got lots of potential answers here. Name 3 Warhammer 40,000 games that are not Space Hulk Tactics.
Hang on, video game.
Yeah.
Video okay. Games. Blood Bowl.
Blood Bowl's not 40k.
It's Games Workshop. Does that not count?
No, that's not 40k.
I'm gonna go with Warhammer 40k.
It's a pretty safe bet, isn't it?
I mean, fuck! I've played a few of them. Fuck.
Can I have a go?
Yeah.
More Time.
That's not 40k either.
Oh, come on!
Oh, I'm in with a shout. I'm back in business now.
You're missing some really obvious ones, like really obvious ones.
Vermintide.
That's it. Again, not 40k.
Yeah, it's Warhammer, but it's not 40k.
So that's it. You're done, Rich. You're done, mate. You're out.
So I've got one with Warhammer 40k.
Well, I'm actually looking for that, and I can't see one that was ever just called that.
I could have sworn the one in my Steam library is called that, but I can't verify because that would be cheating.
Yeah, no, I can't. I'm looking at the full list, and there's none that's just called Warhammer 40,000. They're all Warhammer 40,000 something.
Something, yeah.
40k is all the futuristic ones, isn't it?
Yeah, you dumbass. You're playing Space Hulk. Fucking hell. You could have just gone with Space Hulk, by the way, Richard.
Oh yeah, Space Hulk.
Too late. Hilarious. I'm gonna. Shall I tell you some?
Yeah. Go for
it. There's 3 Dawn of War games on
That's
PC.
the ones I played.
So you could have just gone Dawn of War 1, 2, and 3, and had a correct answer. Inquisitor, Space Marine.
Of course.
The 360, brilliant game. Gothic Armada. There's absolutely fucking millions of them. I thought that was an easy one. Oh dear. My idea of easy is a bit wrong. Extra point. What year did Warhammer first come out?
Oh.
Any Warhammer. The first Warhammer miniature.
1982.
Chris?
Yeah, you see, D&D was in the 80s. I'm going to go 83.
What did you say, Rich?
82.
It's 87, so you're both wrong.
I didn't think
That's
about
surprisingly late.
Yeah.
Oh dear. I even had a tiebreaker question for this one, but
why?
Why needed it? Yeah. Well, you needed one last time. You needed a tiebreaker last time, and that was what year was Edgar Wright born in?
Oh,
71.
Richard?
No, I don't think he's quite that old. That would make him, 47?
Oh, 47. Fuck, I meant 81. Never mind.
80.
74.
Oh.
Pretty close, actually.
So, yeah.
You would have won
44.
the bonus point, but sadly that still put you behind
3-2 in total, so yeah.
Yeah. So that was tricky. That you struggled more on that one than you did on the previous
That was hard.
one,
What was the scores?
3-1 to you. So you're currently up 3-0 in the series, Rich. Chris, you told me this is what happens, Chris. This is what happens when you're late with your show notes. You don't have a chance to do the research to be better at the quiz.
Very true. Very true. Very true.
Well, so, we're all losers.
In many senses.
I am the question master. So thank you guys for staying a little bit later there to play the quiz with me. That was, I didn't want to miss out on that. It's always fun. And thank you very much to Chris, the Humble Gamer, for coming along today, and to Richard Worrell, who's contractually obliged to be here. And I'll thank myself. Ben, you're just such a damn good host and editor-in-chief in all ways, so thank you for coming as well.
The boiler talking there. The boiler. The smog effects are coming out.
Carbon monoxide is starting to...
Oh, I thought you were going with the blowing smoke up his ass thing.
Oh. Cheers, Chris. Thanks for that.
Hey, he said it. That's where I thought he was going with it.
Okay. That has been episode, 57 of the Bxb'S. Bits and bobs, no rest for the wicked. We'll be back in about 2 weeks-ish post-Halloween when people's lives hopefully chill out a little bit. Hey, Chris? Yeah, I would like to say. And hopefully my boiler will be fixed by then. That or I will be dead from smoke inhalation. So yeah, come back soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.